Hello, this is Coach Comeback P. James Holland with episode 18 of the Morning Catch Up. And I'm just excited to share that I just recently found out Dave Chappelle is back, making a comeback. This was one of his first interviews since being gone for 7 years on David Letterman. And it is just a hilarious interview. Um, although Chappelle's face, he looks a little thicker than he was, so definitely looks bigger if you remember him from, 2000. I don't even remember whenever the last show, whatever, went off. He was quite thin, very tall, slender dude, but you can see he's a little well rounded out now. Um, but this interview is just hilarious because at the one point he brings up his leaving the show and disappearing, when he walked away from one of the biggest contracts, in like TV history. It was something like $50 million that he walked away from, and he never talks about it. Even since then, no one's gotten any real interviews where he shared the whole story of what really happened. He just didn't talk about it. So Dave just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing it. And it was really cool. So I just wanted to play this short clip where he first brings it up, and he continues to talk about it throughout the rest of the interview. At least he waited there about 6 minutes in before he brings it up, and you can see Dave's face, but he handles it great. It's pretty funny. So take a listen.
You had the Dave Chappelle show at Comedy Central, and then you didn't have the Dave Chappelle show at Comedy Central. And in comedy, the reason most people have a show and then don't have a show is because they say, well, we don't want you to have a show anymore. But that wasn't the case here. The case here was I guess you said, I don't want your show anymore, and you took a hike.
It's worse than that.
It's worse.
Yeah.
Well, now are you tired of talking about it? It's 10 years, of course you're tired of talking about it.
I don't talk about it. It's like, I just, listen, here it is. Technically, I never quit. I'm 7 years late for work.
That's awesome. So that's one way to look at it. So I guess if he never quit, he just never showed up. I guess that makes sense. So that's one way to get out of saying you ever quit any job, because you know how that looks bad on your resume. If you just stop showing up and then they fire you, does that mean they still got to pay you unemployment because you were fired? You didn't actually quit, you just stopped coming? I like the strategy, Dave. I like it a lot. It gets funnier because, funnier and kind of awkward. But Dave, you just got to watch the whole interview. If you are on the podcast on SoundCloud or iTunes, you should see the link to the full video in the description. If you are on the blog at coachcomeback.com, then the full video will be under this link, so you can just go to that next and play it. But there is one more short part I thought was really funny, because he sounds like Dave keeps asking him if he has regrets. And I know I keep saying Dave, and they're both named Dave. But David Letterman asks him, about having regrets, and if you if he regrets not having the $50 million, and he kind of explains really quickly how money isn't everything. So take a listen to this part.
Do you regret saying, I don't want this enormous sum of money?
Well, okay, look, Dave. It's very hard to go through something like this because no one's really done it before. So there's not too many people that don't think I'm crazy, right? So I look at it like this. I'm at a restaurant with my wife. It's a nice restaurant. We're eating dinner. I look across the room. I say, you see this guy over here across the room? He has $100 million. And we're eating the same entree. So, okay, fine. I don't have $50 million or whatever it was. But say I have $10 million in the bank. The difference in lifestyle is minuscule. The only difference between having $10 million and $50 million is an astounding $40 million.
That's awesome. So you can see if you listen to the whole thing, you'll hear him talk about, without really going into it, how he may have some regrets in the lifestyle that he has now. But at the same time, he's thinking about having some integrity. So I take this to you. Wonder what your opinion. Do you think he was crazy for leaving for whatever integrity reasons he had? Is integrity worth $50 million? How far would you go? What kind of morals and integrity would you sacrifice for $50 million? Is there a limit? Is there no limit? Is there some things you absolutely know you would not do for 50 million, or would you pretty much cut off your own arm and jump through a plate glass window onto a bed of hungry, starving Bengal tigers for $50 million? What's your limit? I'm curious. I'm glad to see that he's back and getting some work. He's getting back into it because he is a hilarious dude. But is he crazy for walking out on $50 million? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Talk to me. Send me an email. Coach Comeback episode 18, morning catch up. Thanks for checking in.